Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. A very, very sad day in world cricket on 4th of March 2022 when two Aussie icons, one, the former yesteryear wicketkeeper batsman Rodney Marsh, who was the first ever wicketkeeper from Australia to score a century in Test matches, passed away at the age 74. And also, a very, very shocking death of Shane Warne, the world class leg spinner who passed away at an age of just 52. Very unfortunate. Our hearts are with them. And as I said, world cricket is in a state of mourning after losing two Aussie players, Rodney Marsh and Shane Warne, coincidentally on the same day. Well, my condolences to all the family members of both Rodney Marsh and Shane Warne, and may God give them the strength to bear this irreparable loss. And as I said, world cricket has lost two wonderful gentlemen as well. So today my primary focus is going to be on these two players. I'm going to talk about Shane Warne definitely at length, and Rodney Marsh of Australia. Just wanting to, and then if at all time permits, I will touch upon some cricket news. Just wanting to tell you the cricket news. When India, just I'm going to do a synopsis right now, just because I wouldn't be able to. I think I will be talking more on Shane Warne today, as I've taken this Cricket Happening show as a big tribute to these two cricketers. As far as just wanting to tell you that India versus Sri Lanka, the Test match, India in and absolutely on the ascendant, going into the third day, one could call, with India declaring the innings scores at 574. It also happens to be Kohli's 100 Test match. He only collected 45 runs, but Jadeja made it very memorable for himself as he made 175, the highest by a number 7 in Test matches, and 175 from Ravindra Jadeja. And besides, so that was the main feature of this particular Test match. And India were having the Indian spinners. Definitely the ball is turning a lot, and Sri Lankans are the ones who will be batting last, and they are struggling at 108 for 4 at close of play on the second day of the first Test against India at Mohali in Chandigarh in the first Test match. As far as Australia versus Pakistan, cricket finally returned to Pakistan, with Australia coming to Pakistan after a gap of 24 years. And definitely there was a big crowd waiting at Rawalpindi, and I'm sure they'll be very happy with the effort from the Pakistan batsmen, as they amassed 474. They also declared the innings with Imamul Haq getting his maiden Test done, and 157 at that, and Azhar Ali, the most technically equipped a player, according to me, for Pakistan in Test matches, made 185. And the Aussies just started with the openers Warner and Khwaja at the crease. And also Bangladesh versus Afghanistan, the T20 series ending in a draw, with Afghanistan beating Bangladesh in the second match, and that was it. So I'm not, if at all, I don't get time to speak on this, please pardon me. But as I said, Shane Warne is going to be the focus. So first let me talk about Rodney Marsh. Now, for who don't know Rodney Marsh is the former Aussie wicketkeeper batsman. As I said, he was the first Australian wicketkeeper batsman to go and score a century for Australia. He scored 3 centuries in Test matches, a left-hand batsman. Yeah, and to really do the keeping in the days of those Tomo and Lilly, as you call Jeff Thompson, the slingy pacer, and Dennis Lilly, the great pace bowler. It was not an easy job at all, and that's the precise name the ball was thudding into the gloves, and he was given the nickname of Iron Gloves Bacchus by Bacchus, I reckon. Yes. And talking about it, talking about Rodney Marsh, if you look at his test statistics, he got 3,633 runs. He was a very, very bold player. So basically, he was not afraid to have a real whack at the West Indies bowlers when the West Indies bowlers were at their pomp, like Andy Roberts, Michael Holding, Joel Garner, and Colin Croft. He was a very, very gung-ho batsman. He played 96 matches, 3,633 runs, 132 was his highest score. He had 3 centuries and 16 50s. And as a wicket keeper, he pouched 355 dismissals, 343 catches, and 12 stumpings. One day internationals, he played 92, and he got 66 was his highest score. He got 4 50s, and he picked up 120 catches and 4 stumpings. And in his days, when the time Rodney Marsh was there was no T20 cricket, my friends. So it's only one day and test matches. If you so let's look at Shane Warne now. That was Rodney Marsh, but as I said, Rodney Marsh, 355 dismissals, and he was, as I said, he was a very, very bold batsman. He could give the ball a real whack, and there was real power in his stroke because he was built. He was very stockily built, and he had the ability to clear the fence at any time. Talking about Shane Warne now, Rodney Marsh left at the age of 74. He passed away at the age of 74. But talking about this man, his name, Shane Keith Warne. I have followed him he died at the age of just 52 in Thailand. And I have to say, Rodney Marsh is someone who probably, I only followed him a bit, and by the time he retired. But as far as Shane Warne was concerned, I have followed him since my school days when he made his debut on the Aussie cricket commentary, on the ABC cricket commentary team. And I have definitely followed Shane Warne. And Shane Warne did not have a good debut when Ravi Shastri, the Indian former coach, made a double century, and Shane Warne was taken to the cleaners, and he didn't have a really good first test. He picked up the wicket. He definitely picked up the wicket of Ravi Shastri. But Shane Warne, let me tell you, he was one of the world-class leg spin bowlers. He had so many tricks up his sleeve, and he used to play cricket with passion. And I remember the days when there was Ian Chappell, who on the comm box used to say that this bloke is someone who used to go places, and he didn't not even get places. He went, he just went on and on and on. 708 wickets in test matches. What a player, and what a sad scene, because Shane Warne, as I said, he was tremendous. Who could forget the ball of the 20th century, which was bowled by Shane Warne? Just wanting to recount, if anyone does not know, the match was between England and Australia in 1993, to my reckoning, and the ball was pitched outside the leg stump, and the ball was turning like a snake around Mike Gadding, who knew little about that, the former England captain, and he was totally mesmerized as the ball went on to turn across him, beat his bat, and ripped up the off stump. And that was the ball which was termed as the ball of the century. And what a ball that was! And that was the time. Even before that, Shane Warne was definitely known, but that particular delivery really, really lifted him in a very big way. And Mike Gadding, as I said, was absolutely flummoxed there as the ball turned around him and took his off stump. One of the dream deliveries I've ever seen in cricket, one could call. And this man, as I said, played his cricket with utmost passion. 708 wickets in the bag. Look at his test statistics. 145 matches. Just before I go there, I also would like to say about Shane Warne that according to me, there was one bunny rabbit for him. His name was the South African batsman, Darryl Cullinan. I remember the days when I used to listen to the Australian cricket commentary when the South Africans were in Australia, and that series, Darryl Cullinan was totally done in by none other than Shane Warne. He was the bunny rabbit for him. And Darryl Cullinan definitely went into, I was told that he even went to a psychologist to find out that why he was not able to cope up. I mean, such was the thing that he did not give a chance for Darryl Cullinan to score by picking up his wickets every time he bowled at him. So such was the dominance over Darryl Cullinan, which I just vaguely remember. And looking at the career stats of this man, David Shane Warne, one thing that I would like to tell dear fans and subscribers is that this bloke had a great cricketing brain, and it was very, very sad that one never saw Shane Warne captaining Australia. I mean, I understand that probably it was Mark Taylor and Ricky Ponting in charge at that time. And besides, those captains were doing well. They were very victorious. Australians were on a victory run, especially Shane Warne played a big, big part on it. But, I definitely saw his captaincy in the Indian Premier League. He also played for Hampshire in England, but he captained the Rajasthan Royals team. And that was the time one could really see what a wonderful cricketing brain he was. And even in the com box, if you look, I mean, as I said, I'm going to miss his commentary in the T20 World Cup in Australia, which is coming up in October. But even in the com box, he's full of energy. I love that passion in Shane Warne. He was full of passion, full of energy, and he was a very keen analyst as well, cricketing analyst, and he could really suss up things. And I really loved his cricketing opinions. He also had a bit of lows in his career as well when Marlon Samuels and Shane Warne had a dig at each other, as you remember in the Big Bash. Other than that, I think his family life was a bit in the doldrums, and then finally it all took off. But definitely Shane Warne, the man. I mean, as I said. I mean, it is a real sad thing that Shane Warne is now, and I'm sure Shane Warne would have been a great cricket administrator as well, in addition to his cricket commentary. But unfortunately, that day will never dawn, as this man Shane Warne is no more. 145 Test matches, 708 wickets. He took 5 wickets in an innings 37 times. And a 10-wicket bag in a Test match 10 times. Take a bow, Shane Warne. We salute you for this phenomenal achievement in Test matches. In Test ODI, 194 ODIs he played. His best. Let's talk about his best bowling as well in Test matches, which was 8 for 71. His best bowling analysis. His best bowling. In the overall match would be 12 wickets for 128 runs. One-day internationals, 194 matches, 293 wickets. He took 5-wicket bag only once, and his best was 5 for 33 in one-day internationals. He also played T20s. He played 73 T20 matches, and he picked up 70 wickets in the time, but probably these 70 wickets which he's talking about, I'm not really sure whether this is something that Shane Warne played T20. I'm not really sure. 70 wickets. As far as batting, well, his highest score was 99. He just missed that century by a whisker. 99 was his highest score in Test cricket, and he had 12 50s to add to them. He was a good fielder as well. And in ODIs, his highest was 55, played 194 matches. In T20, 73 matches, and his highest was 34 not out. So, as I said, that's a wonderful record. I mean, he has been someone who has really adorned Australian cricket, and he has been such a figure, such a pivotal figure in Australian cricket. And it is so sad that this man is no more in this cricketing world. It's very sad, but as I said, my condolences to his family members, to really give them the strength to bear it. But what a player Shane Warne was. I'm sure the former late England cricketer, captain, and commentator, the most exciting cricket commentator, Tony Gray, if he had been alive today, he would have said, "What a player!" That is his famous quote. If he really sees someone who is having an extraordinary talent, and that's what he does. And another thing about Shane Warne, as I said, he has been full of life. Many people have been talking about him. He's a larger than life figure, and he rubs it on others. And he was also a very good gentleman as well. So, as I said, Rodney Marsh and Shane Warne, very coincidentally passing on the same day, and it was definitely for Australia. It's a real warning. The MCG has already named a cricket stand in the name of Shane Warne. It will be known as the SK Warne stand. So I think that's great. We are going to definitely have a look at the SK Warne stand in the MCG when the T20 World Cup in Australia happens. But what a sad scene. I mean, I would have loved to hear Shane Warne's voice on the comm box, especially in Australia and the T20 World Cup. And this man voice won't be heard. All that we can do is we could rekindle memories of this bowler, and look at his videos. You will never tire of seeing those videos, seeing those dismissals that he was getting. What a player! I mean, it's very sad, but unfortunately, that's how it stands. Now, as I said, it really gives me some time to really look, as you New Zealand, South Africa. For New Zealand, it remains a dream. As you know, the last week, the South Africans drew the series against New Zealand, thus depriving New Zealand of their maiden series win over South Africa. So they have to still wait for a long time before these two teams clash against each other, before New Zealand can actually register their maiden Test series win. So definitely South Africa are showing that they have a lot of talent. We saw the emergence of Cyril Erwee, who made a century in his second Test match of his career. We saw Kyle Vereen in his seventh Test match getting a wonderful century. These two players are looking, and I think the South African nucleus is getting much better now. Dean Elgar captaining the side, Cyril Erwee, Kyle Vereen, Marco Jansen, the young all-rounder. They have Keegan Peterson, who did not make it to the trip but played marvelously against India. So these are all sort of precocious talents for South Africa. And I think they can look forward to a great future for South African cricket. Now, just going from here, just wanting to, and also Virat Kohli was playing his 100 Test match, but he could get only 45 runs. So let's go to the scorecard of India versus Sri Lanka. So it's going to be a sort of a sneak peek because of my tribute to Rodney Marsh and Shane Warne. So India amassed 574 for 8 declared, with 175 coming from Ravindra Jadeja, not out. This is the highest total by a number 7 in Test matches, I am told. So it's a new record which Ravindra Jadeja has set, coming at number 7 and making 175 not out with 17 boundaries and 3 sixes. Other than that, Hanuma Vihari got 58. Rishabh Pant was a rollicking 96 of 97. He sailed from 50 to 96 in 14 deliveries by slamming 4s and 6s at will. 9 4s and 4 6s. We all love Rishabh Pant because of his unorthodoxy. And also, Ravichandran Ashwin had a good hand as well with the bat. He claimed he made 61 runs. And as I said, this pitch is really turning. We could see the ball is really turning. Since the Sri Lankans are the ones who are going to be batting last on this particular pitch, I'm sure it is going to be a very tough time for them, especially considering that Ravichandran, Ashwin, and Ravindra Jadeja can totally exploit it to the hilt. So definitely India would hope that they could roll out the Sri Lankans quickly and then put the pressure on them. Probably there's still a long way for them to go the follow on, as they are placed at 108 for 4. The Sri Lankans definitely have the spinners to trouble India. But as I said, India are not the ones who are batting last. It's the Sri Lankans who are going to bat last. So I think Sri Lankans are going to be under immense pressure. And I think India have done a good job here of really going for two spinners, which is three spinners, in fact. Jayant Yadav is the another one. So it really has helped. And Sri Lanka, definitely not a good position at all at close of play on the second day of the first test match at Mohali. 108 for 4. Karunaratne out for 28. Nisanka is there, not out, 26 at 4 boundaries. So he's someone, he's a compact batter in the middle, not out on 1. So definitely it's going to be a real grind for for Sri Lanka. 2 wickets to Ravichandran Ashwin, Bumrah 1 and Jadeja 1. Now let's talk about the Pakistan versus Australia. As I said, after the gap of 24 years, finally the Aussies came to Pakistan, and it started at the first test on March the 4th, the day the Aussie cricketers passed away, Shane Warne Rodney Marsh. Every country, I'm sure in both the test matches, they observed some silence as a mark of respect for these two batsmen, two players. And Pakistan, definitely, they are given immense joy to the crowd. There was a huge crowd. The tickets were all sold out, and definitely, I think they would be very happy with their effort. They 476 for 4 declared in the first innings, with 157. Imam ul Haq getting his maiden test done, 157, 16 fours and 2 sixes. Azhar Ali, as I said, always say, is the most technically equipped batsman in Pakistan right now against any bowling. He made 185, 15 fours and 3 sixes in that particular knock-off. The Aussie bowlers had to really toil. There was nothing in it for the bowlers, and it was a real toil. So it'll be interesting to see how the spinners shape up here. I'm also expecting the ball to turn here, because looking at what the Pakistan have done here is that they have also gone with, they have Normal Ali and Sajid Khan into the mix, and also some of the other, Iftikhar Ahmed is also a spinner. So definitely that's going to be some real battle, as the Aussies were 5 for none at close of play. As far as Bangladesh versus Afghanistan, as I said, the T20 match has been drawn. Thus, the T20 series was drawn between both the sides. Afghanistan putting up a good show here, rolling out the Bangladeshis for 115. And the bowler Fazali Farooqi, who is definitely someone who is showing a lot of talent. He's a left-arm pace bowler, and he had a wonderful tournament, and that's the precise reason he was named the player of the match, I reckon. But I think the player of the series, I just need to look at it. I think the player of the series also went to Afghan. So anyway, so that's how it stands here. Other than that, I have nothing else. As I said, I will end this cricket show on a very sad note by saying, "Rip Rodney Marsh and Shane Warne." Thank you.